In this example, we are going to learn how to conditionally run effects. In the previous lecture, we learned that the effect hook is called after every render. And in most cases, calling the effect after every render might create performance problem. So, we need a way to conditionally run effect in a functional component. Let's quickly practicalize it so as to understand it well enough. Quickly create a new file called effect example tool. Right within the use effect practice, we are going to have effect example tool.js. Generate the functional component. Close down the explorer. All beautiful and fine. So as usual, we have to import the use state and the use effect because we want to make use of the both examples. So what we are going to do is to copy everything from the effect example 1 down here. Effect example 1. Highlight, copy, come here. We just have to paste. And after that, we are going to change the components to effect example 2. So down here, we just have to effect example 2. Save. Open up the app component. And as well, we have to render effect example 2. Import effect example 2.js. Come here, place a comment on this. And then we are going to render effect example 2. Save. Let's go back to the effect example 2. So right here, we are going to console log. Use effect is called. Save the application and check out the browser. Click the button. Everything is working as expected. When we inspect the console, you are going to see the expected result. Use effect is called. Now, I want to show you something. Let's quickly implement the input field. Okay, the use state is imported at the top. The state variable is here. And now we have to make the state variable for the input field. Let's assume name, set name, equal use state. And the initial state is going to be an empty string. It could be a double quote or a single quote. Any of those two will go. All right, let's quickly implement the input field. Let's do it right below the button. Close it up with the self-closing tag. And here I'm going to do type equal test. The value is going to be name. So on change, which means when the user begin to type into the input field, call the arrow function, which then give access to the events. Okay, let's call the set name function. So right within the parameter of the set name function, we are going to use the event to grab whatever the user is typing into the input field. e.target.value. I think by now you should understand the unchanged event well enough. Having done this, head on to the browser and let's check out the behavior. We have to refresh the console. Now, when I begin to type into the input field, we are going to experience a weird behavior. So I do baba. Can you see? When you type into the input field, the use effect is called. Can you see that? Now we have called the use effect 7 times. But look, our intention is to call the use effect only when the button is clicked. So when you also click the button, the use effect is called as well. And when you type something into the input field, the use effect is also called. So this call is actually irrelevant, and it will definitely slow down the performance of the application. It is not optimal. Okay? The solution to this problem is to conditionally invoke the use effect only when the count value gets updated. Because our intention here is to update the document title when the button is clicked. Like this. Can you see? So we want the use effect to get fired up only when the button is clicked. But in this case, if you type in something into the input field, the use effect is called. Do something like this. Can you see? all of this stuff are actually irrelevant. Let's fix it quickly. So we learnt in the previous lecture that the useEffect function accepts two parameters. First is the effect function itself, and second is the dependency array. So right here, to put an end to this problem, we have to specify the second parameter, comma here, and then we are going to take in an empty array. So this application depends on the counts to get updated. So when the counts get updated, we want the document title to be updated as well. So we can say that the application depends on the count variable. So therefore, we have to take in the count. So it means the effect is going to get fired up when the count gets updated. So this exactly is how to conditionally run an effect. When you save and go back to the browser, alright, we have to refresh the browser and also refresh the console. Now, when you hit the plus button, the effect is called and the document title gets updated. Again, it shows the same result. So when we begin to type into the input field, can you see? We no longer experience that weird behavior. So now our effect gets called when the count gets updated. Can you see? So let's give it a try again, a refresh. When I type it into the input field, nothing happens. The effect is not called, simply because we want the effect to be called when the count gets updated. So when I hit on the plus button, it is going to cause the component to re-render. And after the component renders, the effect will get called. Can you see? Take a look at the console. Everything is working perfectly fine as expected. So now the effect gets called only when the state variable count is updated. This is all for now, and in the next lecture, we are going to learn about the useEffect cleanup function. See you in the next lecture. Stay focused and always take care.